Broncos up top. Almost, might have been, it was picked. What a pick it was, too. That's Durant. Kobe Durant. It's to an open target. Higbee looking for a second touchdown in 6 days. He's got it. Pass. Oh, my goodness, intercepted. As Bobby Wagner taking it away. To run it with Akers, and he's in for the touchdown. Oh, he comes right back and catches his second touchdown of the game. Tyler Higbee and the Rams on a roll. In the arms of Ramsey. My goodness, it's an interception. This is going to go the distance.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. I am one of your co-host, Ashton, with my awesome co-host, Zach. We are wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Zach, did Santa bring you anything special besides a really good game?
I feel like I got another good Rams Christmas. My wife actually got me kind of the playoff, like a memorabilia playoff run with the Super Bowl picture. So I got that hanging up on my wall now. But yeah, I got some nice good Rams coffee cup and some fun shirts and things like that. So yeah, it was a great Rams Christmas for us for sure. How about you?
Oh, I was very good because I got very lucky. My wife got me a Cup jersey. I was gonna. They were trying to get one for like a year and a half. It's been a nightmare trying to get that for my family.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
What style did you get?
we got the white uniform, so the white and yellow. So, which is, I would say my second favorite.
Over the
But,
blue?
uh, yeah, I like it more than the blue. I actually like the bone. I'm that one fan that
Okay.
likes the bone the
Yeah,
most.
that was my Christmas last year was the Bone Cooper Cup jersey, and it was the same way. It took oh, it wasn't last year. Whenever the Bone jersey came out, but it took 9 months for it to ship out and get to us, and got it right just before Christmas. So love that jersey.
Yes, I love it. Last year, they shipped us one, and it ended up being a Micah Parsons jersey. So not correct, and we could never get another one ordered because of the shortage.
Hmm.
Just happy to get one this year. I got a really good hat. Got a jacket with the kind of classic skull logo. So like
Nice.
you, got a lot of good Rand swag. I'm very blessed in that regard.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Awesome. Yeah, and then what happens? The Rams give us the biggest present of them all. Not only winning up against the Broncos, but completely destroying the Broncos to the fact that they had to fire their coach immediately the next day.
So Zach, you're telling me Russell Wilson wasn't cooking?
No, nope, he was not cooking. But who should cook? Maybe a baker. I'm just saying. If you really want someone in the kitchen, you probably want someone who's a baker.
Uh, Baker was very impressive. You could kind of tell he actually knew the offense to a certain degree this game compared to the last two games. Not saying what he didn't do last 2 weeks wasn't impressive, uh, but it's different and it takes time for a quarterback to get ingrained with an offense. Even Russell Wilson is still never got fully ingrained in that offense in Denver, and you could tell. But Baker Mayfield, just his reads, his ability, knowing, reading the field, kind of, especially the open field towards Tyler Higbee, who had a great game, Zach, and we'll probably get into that. Just impressive game by Baker Mayfield being able to step in and make a argument for why he can play in this league. And if we win our next two games, I have a strange feeling Baker Mayfield could have the same amount of wins as Russell Wilson.
I mean, I saw a stat today that actually I sent to my to a friend who's a Bears fan, and it was that he that Baker Mayfield has more pass completions than Justin Fields, which I thought is a crazy stat. Just the time that Baker Mayfield has been with the Rams, he has more than Justin Fields in a whole entire season so far. So that's terrifying.
Yeah, and I know we didn't get to cover last week's game primarily because of the holiday season and a lot of craziness. But really, I feel like Zach, we would have had a competitive game if that was in LA. Uh, and if Baker was on the team 2 weeks earlier. Circumstances didn't allow that. We ran into kind of buzzsaw. And Green Bay struggled a lot, and they just kind of were able to push us down and smother us for the rest of the game after the third quarter. This game was the exact opposite of that. Uh, what's your reaction, Zach, to going up 17-3 in the first quarter? Were you blinking your eyes that this the worst offense in the league, let's not kid ourselves. This offense has been atrocious. Was up 17-3 at the end of the first.
I think the crazier thing was, the stat that kept thrown around that the Broncos, yes, their offense is actually the worst in the NFL, but their defense is actually like ranked like third. So it was just astonishing to see what was happening, and it wasn't really at least the first couple drives wasn't actually really the defense's fault. I mean, it was more Russell Wilson just putting them into a really bad position. And, when you get, an interception and now you're trying to defend your field in very short distance, it's kind of hard. Um, and, it is what it is. And, it became in the Rams' favor. And I was just really impressed by this Rams team. They were down so many starters, but they were just able to, push through and doing something that they haven't done this whole season, and really they haven't done in the last couple seasons was they ran the ball efficiently. And surprise, surprise, it was Cam Akers who ran it so efficiently.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely Cam Akers' best game of the year. He kind of, do
It
we
might have been the best
say,
game of his career. I mean, really,
yeah.
23 carries, 118 yards. He was averaging 5.1 with 3 touchdowns, and his longest was 21. Like, that is amazing. That's an amazing game for any running back. Um, so, kudos to anybody who, I know, sad for us for fantasy, but kudos to anyone who actually put Cam Akers in this week. You would have got monstrous points if you took that gamble.
Hmm. Yeah, Zach, did he look like he was healthy this game, or was it a O line thing?
That's a good question. I mean, the O line did very well this week. There was only a couple times where I noticed that there was even some sort of issues with it, but they did a really good job blocking, and they just found the open holes, which they've been like Cam Akers just hasn't seemed to do very often, and um, I don't know. Maybe he's, it could be maybe the defense just wasn't playing as good as they should have, or Cam Akers is really just, stepping in and, he has a lot to prove. I mean, you go back and you look and the Rams tried to trade him and nobody wanted him. And now he's looking like he is going to be the lead back coming into 2023 for the Los Angeles Rams. Like, that is just a crazy turnaround to go from feeling unwanted to, really looking like you're going to be the lead back in 2023.
I mean, let's be honest though, he had some really bad games. They were trying to force feed him, and nothing was happening. Now, again, that's with the caveat of a really broken O line, a lot of struggles there. but it just felt like he didn't have that burst
Yeah.
until this game. This game, he had burst, he had energy, he had fight. Uh, he was much like that 2020 Cam, that
Yeah.
Cam that we just saw run all over New England. A lot of really, really great, well designed runs. Some trickery from McVay. Uh, it seemed like everything was working this game, Zach. Even a 3rd and 10 draw
Mm-hmm.
worked. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, the Broncos ain't coming back. If a 3rd and 10 draw causes us to get a first down, and that almost never happens, uh, then they're struggling mightily, and you could tell on that sideline the Broncos themselves were kind of imploding mid game.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I thought was really done, and this was, it had to have been a coaching thing through McVay, was he did a really good job of not relying solely on Baker Mayfield, and I think that's been kind of the problem that McVay has kind of had, especially over the last couple seasons, is that he's always only believed in his quarterback. They threw the ball always way more than they ran the ball. Sometimes it's just because it was, the first two drives they just could never run the ball efficiently. So McVay just went away from it. If it's not working, McVay just doesn't want to go back to what's not working. But this week, a total of 36 rushing carries, compared to 28 throwing attempts. That's topsy turvy when it comes to the LA Rams, when they're way more of a pass heavy team. But it worked for them, and it was very successful. And um, I'm super excited to see what this team did, even with the handicap of our own line is kind of been obliterated and injured. We have our fourth quarterback coming into the season, even though he is a starting quarterback quality over two of the four. Still learning the system, and then without our major weapons, I mean, you don't have Cooper Cup, you don't have A Rob, you don't even have Skoranek. You're kind of left with Jefferson, Atwell, Powell, and trustworthy Higby, who really showed up this game, and really excited to see how his career kind of boosted after this game.
I mean, Higby has had those games before where he gets multiple touchdowns and he's just quiet for the rest of the year. So we'll see
And
where it goes.
and
Higby
the
has always
problem,
had talent.
yeah, and one of the things that I think that people may forget is, like, the tight end role is not just someone who's going to catch and run the ball. Like, they're there for pass protection, they're there for run blocking, they're there to help the O line make the plays, and um, they're not just solely there. So when he's not having a game, he's probably trying to compensate for the weak O line, and things like that. So I'm really excited that he had this game. He officially became the franchise leader in yards, receptions, and touchdowns for a tight end. So congratulations to Higby on uh, getting that honor. Came in 2016, and has performed well since ever since then.
Yeah, really good stuff by Higby. I mean, our defense was showing and balling. Just great stuff by Kobe Durant. Wagner getting a pick. Durant had 2 picks, including a defensive touchdown. Um, just really great play by D line. Can't talk them up anymore without having Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Six
I'm
sacks.
really Yeah, 6 sacks without AD. I mean, I'm excited for next year with this D line. I feel like if we get edge rusher across from Leonard Floyd, Zach, that's kind of the secret sauce we're missing from our defense. And I would say a starting safety.
Yeah,
The the only 2 holes.
no, I agree with you, and that's why, like, I never, everyone is just like, oh, we need to go back into a rebuild year. We need to go back into a rebuild year. We're done. This is the end of the season. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Assuming that AD was coming back, assuming that Stafford was coming back, which obviously he did announce last week that he's not leaving for the 2023 season. But knowing that those guys are coming back, there really isn't anything to worry about. I mean, yeah, we don't have cap space. We don't have as much cap space, but that's not really been a Rams concern as it was. We've been able to make things work. We've been able to still bring in talent. We got to bring in Bobby Wagner, and look what he's done this season. So I'm not really worried about the cap hit. We're going to find good people in the draft. Um, we're we've found those people before. We Kobe Durant had an amazing game, and he's looking like he's going to become maybe a starter next season. So I'm really looking forward to what the Rams can do in 2023. I know our season's kind of pretty much wrapped as it is, but I'm really excited to see what they have. I do think 2023 is going to be that bust year. Like if you don't make it that year, you're probably looking closer to a rebuild after that. But as far as 2023 goes, assuming injuries are minimal to what you can avoid, I think that they have only the sky's only the limit for them.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this in our off-season pods, but I really think they're going to be looking to make moves in the off-season to shore up some of these holes that they see. I think we have holes at wide receiver. We have holes at running back. We have holes at cornerback and holes at safety. And of course, a huge hole across from Leonard Floyd. So the offseason is going to be big and a lot of fun. Uh, but in the meantime, this gives some of these depth pieces chances to shine. And I thought people like Michael Hoyt were just balling all game.
Just,
Uh,
I mean, to me, for Hoyt, just to kind of chime in on him, completely agree with you. I think he is a catch, and right now he is the opposite of Leonard Floyd. What if he came into this next year? He loses, maybe some of. I mean, he's a bigger guy. I think I heard he's around like 300 pounds. Like, what if he slims down, bulks up, slims down, could he be that threat on the opposite of Leonard Floyd when you have A Rob or when you have not A Rob, when you have AD, you have Greg Gaines, you have maybe Ashawn Robinson still around. Like if you have all those players on that line, that is a nightmare of a line to face.
mhm. And Murchison, we picked this guy off a waiver wire that like people didn't want, and he was just all over the ball or all over the QB. He got 2 sacks.
Hmm.
Laurel Murchison, like he could be a diamond if he keeps on balling out. It just a lot of stuff to be very, very excited about going into next year.
I'm super excited to see what this team has in store. I think this game proved that the Rams really have a lot of talent on this team. They may not have shown it, all in all phases, but they truly do have what it takes to beat the best of the best. Even though, yes, this is the Broncos, they are in the bottom, the very bottom quadrant with the Rams as far as not being great this season, but you still have to respect Russell Wilson, what he's done in his career, and the potential threat that he is. But to see Bobby Wagner kind of get to both sack him and intercept his ball, I think that's a great thing for Wagner, and it's just another confidence boost that yes, Seattle was probably in the wrong for getting rid of him, but I'm not too worried about that.
No, I am definitely happy they chose to kind of go that route and we were able to get him because he's playing. I think after we made that comment on our pod, that he wasn't like he was having good play, but he wasn't making big splash plays. You kind of know Bobby Wagner for. He's done that every game since.
Hmm.
So you definitely won't hear complaints from me. I thought he was up to his signing before he was making those big plays, and I think he's well then more worth it, especially on like next to Jones. This is by far the best part of our best tandem we have on defense, Jones and Bobby Wagner, and I feel like the games we have struggled defensively haven't been because of them.
No, definitely. I had people on Twitter like when because Bobby the Pro Bowl came out last week. Again, we're kind of phasing in the last couple of weeks. Aaron Donald was the only Ram to be named in the Pro Bowl. Bobby Wagner, I think, got completely snubbed, especially when he is through PFF the leading linebacker in the NFL, playing at that high level. But unfortunately, because everything's a popularity contest, he was kind of snubbed out of that position, and then he came right back in, even though he had an amazing game. Even him himself had a great game against um, Green Bay. Coming back in and doing this once again to Russell Wilson. It's just one of those things where like he is super underappreciated and undervalued in this league. I get the Rams are not having a great season, but that's not a reason to snub somebody out when they're playing at the highest level in the NFL and is literally the best of the best of that position. So kind of feel bad for him for that. But that kind of got me into. But like people were like, but he's on the Rams team. It doesn't matter if they're on the Rams team. If they're playing the best. Oh, sorry, I'm getting my thoughts. He was like, well, blah blah blah. Like the why are every team running the ball so efficiently uh, if Bobby Wagner is so great. And I'm just I hate those people. Like he's still really good. He's one player. Yes, not every time the ball runs to his direction, he makes the stop. So some of those people are just very silly when they try to like question, what's actually happening on the field. He's one guy who's trying to also coordinate the entire defense as the play caller. So that's just my thoughts on Bobby Wagner.
No, I mean, we know as fans, like watching the game, who's like doing the heavy work and who's not, and like who's struggling. And you can tell Bobby Wagner is not the reason like we have been struggling against the run, and we've had a good to like great run defense this season.
Hmm.
It's been against the pass that we struggled, and that hasn't been over the middle of the field against tight ends outside of Kansas City. It has
For sure.
been the corners that have
Hmm.
struggled against the pass and the safeties, especially.
And yeah, for sure, the safeties are especially. I mean, even in this game, you kind of saw some of the safety struggles a little bit. But tonight, I think, or at least yesterday, our backs did really great. Obviously, Kobe Durant played excellent, 2 interceptions plus the pick six, or with the pick six, so that was great.
Ramsey.
Obviously, the Ramsey, I mean, getting the ball in the out of the end zone, um, just balling out. I mean, there was tons of times where they threw the ball towards Ramsey's side, and there was just nothing there. I mean, you could see Wilson like he had all day to throw, and couldn't find an open man. Even sometimes there was a guy literally 5 feet in front of him, or he could have ran the ball for the first down, and he decided to throw it and it got picked off. So our defense just played really well. Ramsey played really well. Kobe Durant played really well. Just I was really proud of our defense. I've throughout this whole season, I've thought our defense has played well. They top 5 defense in the league. We just had some inefficiencies on the offense, had some casualties that really took us out of contention. So it's unfortunate for that. I think we could have, if if Stafford and Cup probably weren't out for the rest of the season, we're able to get back earlier within the season. I think we would have had a playoff run, but Unfortunately, we are where we are, and we can just sit back and relax and kind of try to enjoy these last few games as we possibly can.
Yeah, we'll kind of see how the team does these next two games, and we're gonna try to keep previewing the games, guys, to a minimum, because really, whether we win or lose doesn't matter. It's all gonna be about like talking about which players are doing good, which players are doing bad, and what we see in the future for next year, and where the deficiencies are we can look at in the draft and in free agency. Because Zach, if you don't know, the free agency class has a lot of running backs in it.
Hey, I'm
So
super I'm super excited to kind of talk and dive into that, and maybe this will be the first year that I really get into kind of the draft aspect of it. I usually leave that to you and your expertise on that, but I think this is going to be fun conversations to have in this offseason on how we can improve our running game, whether that's through Cam Akers, running that through having Cam Akers have a more efficient back, whether that's Kyron Williams or bringing in somebody new. So really looking forward to having those discussions. Um,
yeah, and lucky enough for us, or unlucky, we'll have more time in February and January to do all that fun research. Zach, you get to relax a little bit, look and watch the Super Bowl highlights from last year, remind us of better times. But hey, it sucks, it stings. But like I said last year, we could have gone 0-17. I wouldn't find it fun, but I'm still not this happy because of how good of a season we had last year. And winning the Super Bowl is a very special moment. And as Zach knows, like, you can be a fan for so long and it doesn't mean you'll get rewarded with moments like that, and you just got to cherish it and kind of absorb it. And that's what we're doing now is we're going through, and like Sean McVay is saying, he's learning a lot from this experience, and I hope next year they come out a stronger team and a better team and healthy, to deal with just all this chaos from this year.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely looking forward to seeing how they play these next couple weeks. Just kind of looking at those, evaluating some of those positions that there are some holes, and maybe there are some ways that whether it's like yeast for the safety position or something like that, that we're looking internally first. But then once we figure out what we can handle internally, looking externally through the draft and through free agency and things like that. So looking forward to it. Obviously we have the game against the Chargers, who are the home team for this week. The Rams had their last home game yesterday, but nothing really changes other than the LA Chargers announcer at SoFi Stadium. They did get flexed out of Sunday Night Football, which is a little sad, but understanding, to the point that the Rams aren't in kind of contention, and they rather have probably somebody who's um, more in contention for a spot. Um, so kind of disappointing there. Did you see the? It looks like right now, as it stands, um, Ode Ibushi is suspended during that game with a incident that he had with Randy Gregory after the Broncos Rams game. Did you see that?
Yes.
What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
so I mean, Gregory walks over and punches him, and he punches back. Like, you gotta be smart. You can't punch back in that situation. It's understandable, and I don't think Ibushi should get the same level of treatment of Gregory. Like, what Gregory did was, it's like, I don't get why these athletes do this sometimes. Like, I get it's personal and it gets heated, and like work can be like that. But if I'm getting paid $17 million, I'm just gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh at you, and
Yeah, I
I'm gonna be
mean,
like, have fun.
yeah, it's stupid. The Rams are looking to appeal that because they think that the reality was that a Randy Gregory came over to him to actually do the swing, and I mean it's just dumb. I think Gregory was kind of salty all game, um, lashing out a little bit here and there. So it's just dumb. But hopefully they get that fixed, and whether Ibushi is in or out, hopefully they appeal, and their appeal is successful. But we shall see. All right. Do you have any final thoughts you want to add before we kind of wrap things up this week?
No, dropping. I mean, I never thought I would see this team, this 2022 Rams team, drop 50 points.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone did. I don't even know if we even said this in the pod, but I saw from one of our friends, Jake Ellenbogen, that with yesterday's performance, the Rams passed the Patriots for the most 50-plus point games of all time with 16. No one in the NFL has more games of scoring 50-plus points than the Rams. So, um, congrats to all of the congrats to the Rams for that. I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment for them. Um, I know at one point I posted the last time the Rams even had a 40-plus point game was, I believe it was the last time the Rams actually beat the 49ers uh, in regular season, and that was the last game in 2018, which helped them in their Super Bowl run.
Yep.
So, fun, interesting facts. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's holiday episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. You can always send questions and feedback to feedback@eastcoastrams.com or hit us up on Twitter. Our official East Coast Rams Twitter account is at East Coast Rams. Ashton, how can people stay connected with you?
You can find me on Twitter at RamFanAshton1.
And then you can find me at Zac Mayer. Also, a reminder that we're on YouTube. We post these episodes on YouTube as well. So if you're at work and you want to just have it playing in the background while you're doing your work, please feel free. You can find it at youtube.com/at East Coast Rams. Please subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe both ways. Subscribe through YouTube and through your podcast of choice. It's an easy way to kind of help boost us throughout the YouTube and the other podcast algorithms. This is kind of the 1 year ish. We're floating around the 1 year time that we started this podcast, and we have some big things planned to kind of make a big explosion of a 1 year episode. So hopefully we'll have more details for you in the coming week or so about what those plans are going to be. But I'm really excited. Ashton, it's been so much fun getting to do this with you on a regular basis over the last year. Hey, you want to have any other thoughts before we wrap that up?
No, it's been a lot of fun, a lot of work. I appreciate all the work you have put into it. Growing this has been just a challenge, but also rewarding experience. I appreciate all the people who listen. I appreciate all the people comment and follow us. It has just been a great ride, even if the season hasn't been great. And last season was clearly great. It just, that fandom, that having sharing this experience together, it just makes it that much better to experience it with people who become your friends. So I appreciate everyone putting into this, and we'll keep on putting out great stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like even over the last couple weeks, the things that both of us have posted have gotten a lot of interaction amongst Rams fans. So it's been really cool to get to interact and get to learn people's stories and get to just get to share in the fun of the LA Rams fandom and things like that. So it's been really cool. So yeah, the Rams got 2 more games left this week against the Chargers, and yeah, we're still hoping for another Rams victory. We always want to see them win, even if it's at a cost of maybe a draft selection. But I think the Rams, they have pride in themselves, and we should have pride in them to try to get any win that they can accomplish. So yeah, let's get it done. Ramley on Sunday. Have a happy New Year. We probably will not do a podcast before the New Year, so have a great New Year. Get your um, all of your your resolutions in order. Maybe one of your resolutions is to listen to more Rams podcasts, and you could easily just make sure you always subscribe to ours. But with that, we're going to leave you guys. Have fun on Sunday, guys. Ramley, horns up.